We just shifted and just did what Jason told us to do, and we've noticed a shift in the conversation so far. Like we just got the opportunity over the last couple of weeks, and we've noticed the shift. People are, or at least I haven't gotten to the second meeting on the wave that we did Jason's approach, but it works. Like I, Zach, if I were you, just do what he says the first iteration. Like just assume he's right and just do it. If it doesn't work, then you can come back and say, "Hey, Jason, it didn't work for me." But I would
Oh,
just
totally. Well, let me be clear, by the way, Jason, props to you. I have been doing what you did and it does work. I am on the second meetings.
Jason, just to start off, a question I have is what are the metrics you track like for sales success in that sense?
Yeah. So this is really important for us as advisors because ultimately, we're all in a business trying to make do for our family, do the best by our clients, and nobody wants to stay at the same place. So, I mean, we got into this to serve people, but we got into this to make a living. And to that end, my primary measurement is income earned, right? But what I don't do, and what I think most advisors fall short at, is they stay there at what is the income earned. And that's step one. But what I firmly believe is what we always ought to be measuring is percent to goal. Because whatever your number is, you can't just stay there for your entire career. Most people measure themselves in dollars earned. I hit my number. I made my month. But the thinking is flawed because money is a byproduct of the measurement of progress. Money is the byproduct. It's not the measurement of the progress. What I mean by that is if the only measurement you have is how much money you've earned, it's hard to change incremental success. If you measure yourself by percent to goal, it's easier to incrementally upgrade yourself and incrementally improve what you're doing. So here's why I work this way. Because number one, sales is binary. Either you complete the mission or you don't. You get the sale or you don't. You make your month or you don't. And consider this, how many times have you felt like a sale was 94% closed, but you 100% didn't get it? The only thing that matters is the complete mission, the 100% solution. So when we measure ourselves, I always encourage people to measure percent to goal. So whatever that goal number is out there for you for the month, stay focused not on the number, but your percent to that number. Because human nature will push us to close the gap and cross the finish line. The percent to goal creates clarity for you, and you know exactly how far you are from mission complete. So there's a couple of the thoughts I have on that, but just what you're hearing now, Joe, well, how does that sit for you?
No, it makes sense. And that's applicable for any industry. When it comes to when you're doing sales or you're earning income in any way like that, yes, you have to set goals, but you're very right. You can't just you look at the goal and say, hey, I'm just gonna make, $50,000 this month. You have to look at the percent of, okay, well, what am I doing or what are the steps I'm taking to get there? And so a big thing, right, and I want to kind of pivot is the authority side of things. Because everything we do when we're creating content and we're trying to help advisors market, right, is position yourself as a figure of authority. And so they'll have all of this content, all of these different pieces and resources that position them as a figure of authority, as an expert. They're educating people. And then when they get to that actual meeting, all of a sudden it almost feels like a facade that was in the marketing because they're not positioning themselves as a figure of authority. And I know there's different ways to do that. Like, and people might look at figure of authority as like, oh, I'm cocky, I'm the best, whatever. I guess how do you position yourself as a figure of authority in a way where you're not being overly friendly, but you're not being in a way putting people off because you're being so, hey, this is the process, this is how it works.
But yeah, that's a great question. Let me come back to that because I want to finish the thought on why it's so important to measure percent to goal.
Mhm.
Because there's two other pieces there. Number one is, it keeps you end state focused. Number two is that As you measure percent to goal, you hit it, Joe. It's universal. So I can have a conversation with you. I can have a conversation with Garrett, with Zach, with John, with Rodrigo. I can have a conversation with any different salesperson, and we can universally challenge one another, because your goal for the month might be 200,000. My goal might be 100,000. And even if you tell me, hey, I'm 40% to goal, I tell you I'm 60% to goal, you may have earned more than me, but I'm closer to accomplishing the goal. So when you want to create language amongst your team, for those of you who are leading other advisors and leading other sales organizations, this keeps it clear when you're communicating. If you're communicating based off numbers, well, the $200,000 producer looks like he's had a better month at earning 80,000, but he's only 40% to goal. I'm closer to my goal and I'm more on track. And as a leader, as a manager, you ought to be tracking to that for the people in your organization. And because it's universal, the last reason why I focus on this, because it's universal, it's also scalable. When I'm ready to become the $200,000 producer, all I do is change my end state output, and now I can remeasure myself to that and keep track on that. But my language, my drive feels the same, because I know what it's like to be 40% to goal, and 40% to goal is not good enough. I have to get closer. I have to complete the mission. So that scalability with the language is why I use that to focus on the measurement. But to your question that you asked just a moment ago about elevating status and how do we build that bridge from the marketing that's done that presents this high status authority figure individual, how do we carry that into a meeting and still build connection and relationship with the client? The first thing I would say is, connection is sometimes overrated. There's a lot of people in my life that I follow and do what they say that I don't feel connected to, because I respect them as a position of authority, as a person who has the ability to guide me to where I want to go. And as long as I don't feel disrespected by them or unheard by them, I can follow through. Being disrespectful and being coming off as though you're not even listening to people will always close a door in your face 100% of the time. But what doesn't give you the authority is trying to come off as the best friend. And sometimes people can confuse this with ego, where they think it's coming off like just cocky and a know-it-all. But you got to remember, just like prospects don't respect arrogance, they don't follow passivity either. So as an advisor, especially as we talk about communicating through this virtual world, the advisor has to model a calm confidence that sometimes may even border into coming off as cocky, but you have to be absolutely sure of what you're putting in front of a prospect. Because think about it, the people that we're targeting, we're not targeting low income, low net worth individuals. We're targeting folks who have been successful in their life, folks who have had the ability to save $500,000, $1 million or more. These people aren't looking for a wishy-washy, maybe sort of kind of plan. They're looking for someone who comes in as the authority figure, elevates their status, and keeps that throughout the time in the conversation. So you have to be able to balance that, because at its core, everybody wants leadership. So one of my mentors that I've had the privilege of being mentored under for a number of years is John Maxwell. And one of his most famous quotes is, "Everything rises and falls on leadership." And that's what I believe as advisors too many lack the ability to be a leader in the process. They want to be a suggester. They want to be a presenter. They want to be just, hey, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm just trying to help you buy. Well, whether I'm selling you something, whether I'm helping you buy something, at the end of the day, the way that what people thrive for, what people are deeply desiring, is someone to lead them through this process they've never been. That's why people are reaching out to me, to every advisor on this call, because they've come to a point in their life that maybe for the first time, they don't have absolute certainty of what the next step is. And if I was looking at a 30-year journey, would I want to walk that forward with the person who kind of thinks they have an idea? Or the person who can look me in the eye and say, I've done this with hundreds of people before you, and I'm confident that in the end, this is the best decision for you. Sometimes that's why I don't like probability of success metrics. Because you're already talking in, okay, well, if there's a probability of success, there's a probability of failure then. No, I'm confident that this is the best way forward. We've evaluated all the other paths. And every path is going to have some level of obstacle, trial, tribulation on it. But this has the highest capability of getting you to where you want to be. And ultimately, isn't that what you're looking for in an advisor? So I don't know where people get the idea that we have to live in this space of not having confidence. I think actually it comes from compliance. We get so caught up in compliance and the emails they allow us to send or don't send and what we can say. Yeah, we can't guarantee certain things. I'm not talking about having guarantees. I'm talking about having confidence that we've walked through all the different opportunities and ways this could work out for you, and this is the best path forward. Ultimately, am I saying the same thing? This is the best path forward, or this has the highest probability of success? Well, yeah, but one leaves a little bit of wiggle room there. So people want that type of leadership, and when you give it to them, they get safety, they feel comfort, they're able to trust in you. And that is the number one commodity that we have in our business, is the ability to garner trust. So when we're working with prospects, coming to them with that level of calm confidence is where we continue to carry through with them the elevated status, the ability to lead them, and the ability to show them what they should be doing next.
I like it. I want to kind of open up for